Welcome to Audio Recaps, your ultimate destination for breaking down cinematic masterpieces. Today we're tackling Dunkirk, Christopher Nolan's gripping war epic. This movie doesn't just tell a single story, it weaves three perspectives into an emotional tapestry of survival, heroism, and hope. If the film's unique structure left you confused or wanting more, we're here to break it all down for you. Let's dive in. Dunkirk is based on a true story from World War II, the evacuation of Allied soldiers stranded on the beaches of Dunkirk, France. In May 1940, nearly 400,000 British, French, and Belgian troops were surrounded by the German army. With no clear escape route, these soldiers faced certain death. But an incredible rescue effort, one that came to be known as the Miracle of Dunkirk, saved more than 300,000 lives. Nolan tells this story through three overlapping timelines. The Mole, 1 week. The story of soldiers trying to escape from the beach. The Sea, 1 day. The tale of civilian boats crossing the English Channel to aid the rescue. The Air, 1 hour. The intense battle of RAF pilots protecting the evacuation. These timelines converge in the film's final act, creating a powerful narrative about survival and sacrifice. Let's break it down. Part 1. The Mole, the stranded soldiers. The story begins with Tommy, Fionn Whitehead, a young British soldier running through the streets of Dunkirk as German forces fire at him. Barely escaping with his life, he arrives at the beach, where tens of thousands of soldiers are waiting for rescue. The sight is bleak. Long lines of men stretch across the sand, all hoping for a miracle. The soldiers are trapped. The enemy surrounds them on 3 sides, and the English Channel blocks their escape. German planes frequently bomb the beach and the ships attempting to evacuate soldiers. It's chaos and despair, but survival is the only goal. Tommy meets another soldier, Gibson, who is silent and keeps to himself. The two form an unspoken bond, teaming up in desperate attempts to board any ship leaving Dunkirk. At one point, they carry a wounded man on a stretcher to gain access to a medical ship. But before the ship can sail, it's bombed by German planes, sinking and forcing everyone into the freezing waters. Commander Bolton, Kenneth Branagh, and Colonel Winant, James Darcy, oversee the evacuation from the Mole, a long pier extending into the sea. They know the Navy doesn't have enough ships to save everyone. As Bolton grimly states, you can practically see it from here. Home. But home feels impossibly far away. Part 2. The Sea. The civilian fleet. While the soldiers wait for rescue, a civilian effort begins across the English Channel. The British government calls on civilian boat owners to join the evacuation, as military ships alone cannot evacuate the troops fast enough. Mr. Dawson, Mark Rylance, an experienced sailor, answers the call. He sets off on his small boat, the Moonstone, with his teenage son, Peter, and Peter's friend, George. Their journey highlights the quiet heroism of ordinary people. They're not soldiers, but they risk their lives to save others. Early in their journey, they rescue a shell-shocked soldier, Cillian Murphy, floating on the wreckage of a torpedoed ship. This man is terrified and panicked. When he learns they're heading toward Dunkirk, he snaps, insisting they turn back. In his panic, he accidentally injures George, who later dies from his injuries. Despite the tragedy, Mr. Dawson remains steadfast, telling Peter that George will be remembered as a hero. As they near Dunkirk, the Moonstone encounters chaos, bombed ships, drowning soldiers, and enemy planes. Yet Mr. Dawson calmly navigates through the destruction, rescuing as many men as his small boat can carry. Part 3. The Air RAF pilots protect the evacuation. Above the carnage, 2 RAF pilots, Ferrier, Tom Hardy, and Collins, Jack Loudon, are tasked with protecting the evacuation from German bombers. Fuel is limited, and the odds are stacked against them, but their mission is critical. Ferrier quickly establishes himself as a calm and focused leader, shooting down enemy planes with precision. Collins, meanwhile, is forced to crash land in the sea, but is rescued by a civilian boat. Ferrier's actions in the air provide hope to the soldiers below, who cheer when they see enemy planes shot down. His quiet heroism is a reminder of the unseen sacrifices made during wartime. Convergence. A moment of hope. As the 3 timelines converge, the tension reaches its peak. Tommy and Gibson, along with a group of other soldiers, take shelter in a beached fishing boat, hoping to float out with the tide. But the boat comes under enemy fire and water begins flooding in. Amid the chaos, Gibson reveals he's actually French, not British, and was hiding his identity to board an evacuation ship. Tragically, Gibson drowns when the boat sinks. At the same time, Mr. Dawson's boat arrives at Dunkirk, rescuing soldiers from the sinking fishing boat and pulling others from the water. The civilian fleet becomes a beacon of hope, ferrying thousands of soldiers back to England. Above them, Ferrier makes a final heroic stand, shooting down a German bomber despite running out of fuel. He glides his plane to a safe landing on the beach, where he's captured by German soldiers. His bravery ensures the evacuation can continue. The aftermath, a miracle of survival. By the end of the movie, more than 300,000 soldiers have been rescued, a far greater number than anyone had anticipated. Commander Bolton stays behind with the French soldiers, ensuring they have a chance to escape as well. As the soldiers return to England, they're greeted as heroes, but many feel like failures for leaving Dunkirk behind. Tommy reads Winston Churchill's famous speech in the newspaper. "We shall fight on the beaches, we shall fight on the landing grounds, we shall fight in the fields and in the streets, we shall never surrender." This speech reframes their survival as a crucial step in the larger fight against the enemy. The movie ends on a bittersweet note, honoring the courage of those who lived and those who sacrificed everything. Dunkirk isn't just a war film. It's a story of survival, resilience, and the extraordinary efforts of ordinary people in extraordinary times. It reminds us that heroism takes many forms, from soldiers holding the line to civilians answering the call of duty. If you enjoyed this recap and feel like you better understand the story of Dunkirk, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Audio Recaps. Stay tuned for more incredible stories made simple.